It's December 11th, 2023, and today's the day we're taking Myles in to have the AGM batteries replaced. They're 6.5 years old. They're actually working fine, but I want to replace them while everything's still working, and I'm in a place that I trust to have the work done. We're at National Indoor RV in Atlanta, and I'm also going to take the opportunity on this beautiful sunny crisp day, almost freezing, to update and replace the 10-year-old inverter that's in there that is also working fine. But I consider myself lucky that I haven't had problems yet with it. There she goes, the beginning of battery surgery and the installation of the lithium batteries and all the Victron equipment. Good luck, Myles. It's another birthday present for you. Well, let's go inside and see what bay they've got Myles in for this battery extravaganza. You can see this place has got a tremendous shop, lots of room to do a major project like this. You can see that we're sort of near where we were when we had our tanks done. So this is the first time I worked with Jim, and I learned real quick, you better be Johnny on the spot with the camera, because he doesn't fool around. Literally, by the time I walked through the main offices, got my coffee, hit the restroom, and came back, all of the AGM batteries were out and a battery tray. Now later on, he's actually going to remove that floor there. But he decides, yeah, I think I'll just rip into this and get rid of this wall while I'm here. And this is the time period when you're going, oh my God, I am thankful I decided to do this type of modification with a company that knows about motorhomes. These changes that you're seeing on film here are not something that you can easily put back together if you decide that you hired the wrong person and they don't know what they're doing. So Jim is grinding out that wall in between the old battery bay to make the battery bay and the baggage compartment area one contiguous volume, and that way, both in summer and in winter, it helps that climate remain more steady state and more what we want it to be. In winter, for instance, when we might need our batteries to be a little bit warmer, we have our Oasis diesel boiler in the basement that will help keep things warm. And in summer, that extra volume of the baggage bay compartments there makes it much more difficult for the heat to become a runaway situation. What I just showed there was the old battery bay and now the new battery bay with everything ripped out. Now, Jim decided to take the floor out so that he could actually put the plywood down into that depression that is shown with the angle iron there, and that would allow him to have the floor the same level as the rest of the baggage bay compartments. Now, a number of times, all of the people working on this rebuild always said the same thing and repeated the same mantra, is that their goal when they're doing modifications on your motorhome is to make it as OEM looking as possible. So you're probably asking yourself, well, Mark, why is it important that your rig look OEM during a modification? And the answer to that is we all realize that sooner or later there's going to come a time where you're going to have to sell your rig. And if it looks all hodgepodge lodge, it's going to be infinitely tougher to sell. That's one of the reasons why we used Wood Design RV in Napanee, Indiana, when we had our executive desk put in and other modifications to the cabinetry. You might want to check that episode out. It's episode number 16, and that is another good example of doing a bunch of remodeling and changes, and when you're all done, it looks like Newmar did it. Now, I have to be honest with you that we literally had no plan on how we were going to box in this battery bay area. And it was at this time that I was kind of at the mercy of the workmanship that I was going to get here at National Indoor Atlanta, and in particular from Jim. And I'm telling you that I kept my mouth shut because I kept thinking to myself, wow, Jim, way better than I thought. Wow, you really don't have to do that, but I'll take it if you're going to do it. And you look up above all of the zigzagging and obstructions and things that he had to miss, but it didn't deter him at all, because shortly you're going to see some boards that he cut, and in my life I would always call those miracle boards. It's a miracle that it's going to fit when you're all done with it. And he just patiently cut around all of the different beams and angles and struts and pipes and things that were in the way. And remember, he had to cut this multiple times because he not only had to cut that shape in the plywood, but then he had to cut it into plastic, and on the back side the aluminum sheeting metal that he had on there to protect it from the elements driving down the road. So let's dive in and take a look-see and see what this looks like so far with the wall in on the left side and the floor in there. You can see the back area up along the roof there. There's going to be a lot of zigging and zagging that's going to have to be done. And you're probably asking yourself, hey, where's Jim? Isn't he supposed to be working on this? I thought you said he's working all the time. Well, guess what? This is the only time I had some alone time in this cabinet area to be able to catch a little bit of a shot for you guys. Jim was on lunch break, but I no sooner heard no activity, went down there, got the camera, started photographing the progress so far, and you'll see in the left hand corner there, all of a sudden Jim comes back, and I'm like, yikes, I have to get out of the way because he's going to start working. So you're going, okay, big deal, couple of cuts on one side, and okay, a notch on the other side, but oh, wait a second here. Guess what? We got a couple of step cuts on this side. So now you got on the roof area those step cuts that have to line up, and the cuts on the other side. And you no sooner get done with all of that, and pretty soon you got to cut the matching pieces for the metal that's on the outside. So once again, the miracle board is getting even more complicated. So I didn't ask Jim if it's okay for me to share his pro tip here, so I'm kind of giving it away for free. Check out the fact that he's doing all his cutting on that 1-inch thick styrofoam that's supported by a sheet of plywood underneath. What an excellent way to allow him to plunge cut through the metal that he was cutting to match the board, the miracle board that was going to be going in, and yet support everything while he's doing that. It allowed the metal not turning into wiggly woggly while he was doing that, and just produced a really straight cut. Here he's doing some filing. Imagine your average RV guy after he put that cut in and knows that he's going to bury this thing in the wall on the back side of your RV. Do you think that guy would deburr it? So I don't want you to miss the fact that even the edges up on the top of the board where all the notches are, Jim actually sprayed that with an undercoating to protect the edges. Now right here they're taking this OEM carpeting that they obtained, and they coat it with a spray adhesive both on the wood and on the back of the carpeting, and they press it down, and then Jim has a roller that he rolls it tightly down to get a good bond. So we all know what it's like when somebody's standing and hovering over you at work and you're trying to get the job done. So I was kind of thankful that part of the day I would spend in the rig and I would be working on other things, but I could periodically grab the camera just to capture what's happening out there. You can see that Jim is finishing up the final detail of cutting the edges of that complex notched area there and getting the board finalized and ready to be installed. Looks factory, Jim. So in case you didn't figure it out already, Jim is a man of few words. And that's because he's too busy working. And normally he's the shop foreman for one of the crews, so he's got plenty to do. Now, I was really impressed when all of a sudden I was taken by surprise that included in this rebuild, these guys just took for granted that they were going to install a rubber seal all the way around on this door and make it every bit as waterproof as all of the other seals and doors. And to do that, he pop riveted in this aluminum angle all the way around so the rubber gasket had a nice surface to seal against. Okay, so if I could do things over again, of course, I would have lit these compartments better. And I can tell you that now that the batteries are in, I, in fact, have put two 1500 lumen LED lights in each of these bays. So if you ever see me on the road and you say, hey, Mark, why don't you show me your lithium batteries? We'll be able to take a quick look-see at them. But as roomy as this area looks, it didn't take long before Matt, Justin, and Jim showed up and started plotting on how they were going to throw all this equipment in and quickly use up all that space. What you're seeing here is actually the project handoff now between Jim, and he's handing it off to Matt. It's the guy standing on the left here, and he's going to be doing all the wiring. The guy that's kneeling there, that's Justin Townley. He's the service manager, and he's kind of running the whole show here. You can see it looks like we got a lot of room to work with, but I'm going to show you in a second here a little teaser on where we are right now. We actually, as I'm speaking, are finishing up the wiring and doing the final testing. This has been video 2 of a 3-part series. Video 3 will show all of the trials and tribulations of putting the equipment in place, and sometimes actually jockeying it around and moving it around to make it work better overall. You can see that I added 1500 lumens per bay to light it up. So if you see me around in a campground or at a show sometime and you want to see this setup, just ask me and I'll show you. I want to invite you to subscribe so you don't miss any of the episodes that we have finishing up this installation, or for that matter, any of the other installation videos we do. And so until we get to meet you on the road or in a campground someday, we invite you to join us every Sunday morning on YouTube for another episode of our journey in Myles.